Welcome back to the break room, everybody. We got some big Fantastic Four news today. Perfect timing for our Oops All headline show.
Where's the box?
Oh, yeah. Captain Crunch, sponsor us. Well, we might have eaten all the cereal, but...
I might have gone ham on some Captain Crunch.
It's behind us. Oops All berries. Oops All headlines. I'm Zach Huddleston, and joining me today are Brandon Barrick and Tommy...
That's my Ben Grimm.
That's a good Ben Grimm.
Thank you.
And Tommy Bechtold, who will do his best through Storm.
Wow!
Nice.
So great to be on YouTube, our preferred platform, guys. We love communicating with you guys on YouTube. Like, you guys know contractually we have to be on Twitch. But when we can be with our main ones, our real ones on YouTube, it just takes it up another level. So glad to be here. Again, Twitch, YouTube. Now, let's talk business.
Yes.
I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA. We have people on our staff that are WGA members. We are constantly in communication with people in our guilds about what we can do, what we can cover, what we can say on these shows. And we believe reporting the news, commenting on the news, editorializing on the news all falls within kosher content during a labor dispute. We will continue to be cognizant of that. We will continue to check in as things evolve. We're not entering in any future agreements to promote anything, but we will continue to report, editorialize, react as such. So we are in solidarity with the unions as we talk about these projects coming up. These are not promotions. These are simply our analysis of them.
Yes.
Well said, Tom.
And that might impact some of the casting news we're going to talk about.
Right.
Certainly is being impacted by these strikes, we think.
Yeah.
And so we'll come back to that as well.
And as we talk about this casting news too, it's important to remember that all of these actors are not having these conversations now.
No.
A lot of this happened pre-strike. We're just like hearing about it now.
Yes.
No one's doing any pitching.
Maybe
right
just
now.
people's
No one's auditioning.
representatives on their behalf without their
Mhm.
knowledge.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of...
We call it back channeling in the biz.
Oh.
Yeah.
You create a back channel.
Oh.
Yeah. Baby's got back channel. So let's talk Fantastic Four. Why did I say that? We'll never know. So Jeff Snyder, who we've mentioned in the break room before, is a scooper, an entertainment reporter with some connections at Marvel, who appears weekly on the Hot Mic podcast, where he's been known to drop, as we call them, Snyder bombs.
Yeah.
And he definitely dropped some today. He had some Fantastic Four casting news. So
Then he took it away.
and then he kind of took it away,
Yeah, this
and
was
then
all, like,
some of it is
potential stuff.
some of it is murky. We're going to get into all of it, but the biggest news and the thing he was most confident in is he said that Sue Storm has been cast by Vanessa Kirby. There she is. Most recently of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. You might also recognize her from Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
And I think she's been in at least one other Mission Impossible movie.
Her character originated in Mission Impossible 6.
Okay.
Fallout.
Yes.
And she was also on The Crown. She was
Oh.
Princess Margaret in not this most recent iteration, but
Yeah.
the previous age
And-
group. The
Okay.
2 seasons that were...
Was that the Elizabeth Debicki Diana? Or...
No, she was pre that. That
Okay.
was when... I forget everyone.
Anyways.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. She was also in the running for Lois Lane, right? She was one of the. I think
I don't know
she
about that.
was in the short list for Lois Lane.
Producer Evan, pull up that Hollywood Reporter article from a few months ago, because that does sound vaguely familiar, but I don't know for sure. So, a reminder, Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, previously played by Jessica Alba in the 2005 and 2008 Fox films, and then more recently Kate Mara in the doomed Fantastic Four Stick.
And let's not forget Samantha Staub from the
Oh
Roger
yes,
Corman.
from the which you can watch on Bootleg Breakdowns. I'm sure
Yes. buried
buried deep within the recesses of the new Rockstars
find it.
YouTube
You can
channel,
find
but
it
it
on
is
the channel.
findable.
Yes, it's definitely posted. So this is interesting. We were kind of talking about this, though. Vanessa Kirby is a talented actress that has worked a lot. I don't think she's a household name. Maybe
Sure.
maybe
Yeah,
not
yeah.
what you would define as a movie star, right? Like in the sense that like she sells tickets with her name
Right,
alone,
sure.
like you might say for a Jennifer Lawrence or
Sure.
an Emma Stone or something like that, right? So an interesting, like, what does that possibly say about the rest of the cast? Are they going like, hey, the title of the movie sells the tickets. We don't need famous actors to fill this. Or will she maybe be surrounded by bigger names, do you think?
I think it's tough with a movie like Fantastic Four, where in theory you have 4 lead characters Though they often find a way to make one or two the lead and the other two are just kind of there. And like, I would assume Reed Richards or Sue Storm is going to take the kind of lead role of this movie. Not that they have to, but I think it would be strange for them to introduce a Fantastic Four and be like, this is a Johnny Storm story.
Sure,
like a Ben Grimm story. Yeah, it would make sense to lead with one of the two. Now, I think it's smart to go with maybe not huge names for this movie. You know, Marvel in the past, they would get newer actors, you know, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth. Even like Chris Pratt was not a huge movie
it's kind of his first big movie. Was Guardians,
like they would sign them up and they'd be like, hey, come to the Marvel Universe, you're going to be in 6 movies. Sign this contract
and we'll make you a star.
Yeah. And then, you know, we started hearing more recently, like with someone like Oscar Isaacs, right? A big name. They hire him for Moon Knight and it's just like, it's just for this one season. No promises about anything in the future. We might come back to you, but we'll wait and see. And it seems like that's where they want to go now, where it's like, we'll sign you up for one movie, and then we'll see. Now, I would think with this phase, all the way through phase 6, and like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, they probably have some plans for the Fantastic Four if they're going to introduce them before these big end movies. So with anyone they cast for this, I assume there's some sort of caveat of like, we're going to sign you up for this and one other appearance.
Sure, in between future sequels for Fantastic Four. You're probably committing to 3 Fantastic Four movies and 2 other Avengers or some other kind of appearance, right?
So all that to say is I think it's smart to cast like mid-tier people for this film.
Well, they have more space on their calendar.
Right.
They might be willing to commit to a 6 or 7 movie deal,
and that'd
right?
be a little more affordable.
Yeah.
And if you want to spend a lot of money on a name, rather than focusing on the family, make one of the, you know, Doom or Galactus.
Right.
Well, we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. Also, worth pointing out, Vanessa Kirby's in her mid-30s. So the most recent, the Fan Four stick,
how old?
35.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a callback to the Twitch stream,
like
everybody.
Oh, right. Sorry, guys. I get confused.
You gotta watch on Twitch if you want to understand all the bits.
Clip that out of context and share it around.
Yeah, that's right. So she's in her mid-30s, and I only point that out to say the most recent version of the Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Bell and Kate Mara, they were all in their mid-20s.
Yeah, they were young.
They were going for a super young cast, kind of like that was the purpose of the reboot of like they're very, very young. And so they're clearly not. It's kind of, this is a more age similar to the Fox films with Jessica Alba and Rhys Ifans and whatever. Right?
I think that makes sense. I think Johan Gruffeld.
Johan Gruffeld. Sorry, I quoted the wrong Welsh actor. Thank you, Tommy.
No problem. I'm a Gruffeld fella. I'm a Gruffeld guy. And unlike Garfield's, we love Mondays and we consume only vegetables. No pasta for us. But I think the 2015 is an interesting thing because if you look at Kate Mara, Miles Teller, was it Jamie Campbell Bower?
Jamie Bell?
Jamie Bell. Yeah. Jamie Campbell Bower is Vecna from Stranger Things. See, I'm not immune to it either.
Good.
And then Michael B.
Jordan.
It's like, think about 8 years later how famous, like Michael B. Jordan is now a way bigger star. He was already up and coming then. Yeah. He had the Chronicles or whatever. The Chronicle.
From the same director, Josh Trank.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Kate Mara, I think, had just come off of House of Cards, right? She had done that like crazy first season that kind of put Netflix on the map. Miles Teller was like, had done, was it Fault in Our, or Perks of Being a Wallflower? Which one was it? It was one of those.
Or had he already done Whiplash at that point?
Whiplash was previous to that? Okay, so
I think
anyway.
so.
But it was, my point being is like, you look at them now, if they made that movie now with those actors, it almost seems more built for success in 2023 with that cast.
Yeah.
It also seems like if they're gonna, focus around actors in their mid-30s, this might be not an origin story.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I might be joining them midstream. Well, like, it also kind of makes sense. As much as, like, people in their early to mid-20s can be world-class scientists,
right.
It kind of makes a little bit more sense that
most people in their mid-20s are complete
career.
morons.
Yeah.
No offense to all of our mid-20s geniuses.
I certainly was.
Oh, my God. I was the dumbest man alive.
Some would argue in my early 40s I'm still a complete dumbass. But, so, yeah, I think it'll be interesting. And if it's not an origin... for them as characters, I mean, they could also get their powers at that stage of their career, right? I guess that makes it an origin story.
Also, though, that age implies that we may have some Richards children. Right? Does kind of feel like...
That'd be interesting.
Play a big part in the comics and certainly have some connections to Kang there. So, and also, just to say, Jeff Snyder put a little caveat on this, that it's 90% certain.
90%.
Or maybe even said 95. So there's a tiny amount of wiggle room, as there always is. And again, there's an actor strike going on right now.
Right.
So who knows when this movie
So no
will
actors
happen.
are really going to confirm it, right? Like
And it's
I
not-
don't know if they even
And it's
can.
not real till the studio
Yeah.
says it.
And
too.
pre-strike, we all were assuming at Comic-Con this
Yeah.
would be one of Marvel's big announcements.
Mhm.
And once they pulled out, it was like, well, they're not going to say
Because again,
anything.
this movie is coming out
2025.
Yes.
May?
But, like, February. I was going to say February. Where do we got there?
May. May
That's
2nd.
correct. But so that's less than 2 years away.
Right.
These movies take 18 months to
I mean,
shoot.
they've already started the previs
Yeah.
third act fight. Don't worry.
Yeah. All of that's already designed.
Yeah.
But so moving on to other Fantastic Four characters, apparently Johnny Storm and the Thing are also cast, but the names are less clear. AKA
Someone smudged them.
Jeff Snyder. Yeah, that's right. They're written in mud, and it's been raining. Okay?
They're in those fun.
Jeff Snyder's
They're in that
like-
magic ink. You have
Well,
to
Jeff
like pull the
Snyder,
lighter.
he has a side job as a window washer. He's outside Disney Studios. He's like, I can't see.
The
I can't
font
see
is
what's on the
too
whiteboard.
small. But this is where it got really fun. So on Johnny Storm, he initially said that Jack Quaid from The Boys
yeah.
And Oppenheimer.
and Randy Quaid's nephew.
Yes, most famously Randy
For Randy
Quaid's
Quaid's
nephew.
family tree.
I love Randy Quaid's viral content.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like the
the
movie
double
where-
entendre there.
I like the movie where he played the head of Fox News.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great movie.
But anyways, he initially reported that Jack Quaid had been cast as Johnny Storm, but later, after Jack Quaid came out on Twitter and said this is not true,
During the podcast,
yeah,
right?
like I guess people were immediately pinging him and blowing up his phone. He came out and said
You're like,
this is not
dude,
true.
Johnny Storm? He's like, what the fuck are you talking
And he actually very smart. And Jack Quaid, if you don't know, has been like a very vocal
Yes.
actor as part of the strike. He's out there on the picket lines every day and stuff like that. And so he while he denied it, he also tweeted out a link to the SAG-AFTRA like support fund to
Yes.
help actors that are in need right now.
He's been very vocal, and I think it's been, like I was saying 2 days ago, like it helps so much when someone who's in a huge movie like Oppenheimer is only posting on social media about the strike. It says a lot about their character, I think, because it's so hard to not be. Obviously, you're proud. It's probably one of the proudest things he's done. You know, like, oh my god, I'm in this huge movie.
So what you're saying is Jack Quaid, not a heel?
I think he may be a face.
Okay.
Jordan face.
So after all this is kind of happening in real time while their podcast is being broadcast, Jeff Snyder kind of walks it back and says, oh, no. It's a different actor with the same initials.
Yes,
It's
the
a different-
towels, the monogram gift towels.
It's a different JQ. It's not Jack Quaid. It's Joseph Quinn,
Yes.
a.k.a. Eddie Munson from the last season of
Wait,
Stranger Things.
What if this is my new Jeff Snyder conspiracy theory? He works at a gift shop that makes gift baskets, and he got the order for the congratulatory baskets, and it was like it was a bunch of JQ stuff, like congratulations JQ, love the fight.
It is like, it's almost like a Q drop on
Yeah.
4chan.
Hell
And
yeah.
that It's
Oh,
all
no.
about us deciphering the initials and what the
Yes.
dates mean and whatever. So,
no.
a reminder, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, previously played in the 2 Fox films by Chris Evans in a pre-Captain America superhero jaunt, and then Michael B. Jordan in the Fan Four Stick film. We looked him up. He is 29 years old, according to the internet. So, like,
How old?
29.
Oh,
Again,
dang.
pretty sweet callback to the Twitch only.
Breaking Bad on 29.
I don't play by the rules. I'm not like other guys.
That's right.
No, I hope we see Chris Evans return as Johnny Storm in Deadpool 3.
The pause there made me think he was missing. I hope we see Chris Evans return.
Yes, please.
Safety.
I would love
Call
to
in.
see
Call in, Chris
Chris, let
Evans.
us know you're okay.
Proof of life.
if they're doing like this whole like Fox Studios
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
in Deadpool 3. I would love to see a little.
He also seems
Chris
like
Evans return.
He also
as
seems like the kind of
Johnny
guy
Storm.
that would be down to pal around a little bit with Hugh and
Absolutely.
and the other Ryan.
You were pointing out that Joseph Quinn being a little younger than Vanessa Kirby.
Little May December romance.
Yeah, maybe, but it also doesn't really matter in the movie.
Their brother sister.
Oh, Johnny Storm.
Oh
yes.
yeah, sorry. A little Brazzers romance.
Oh no. Oh no.
Are they
Johnny Storm-
step bros?
Is
or-
Johnny Storm traditionally the younger sibling Sue
That
Storm?
feels
I believe
right.
so.
That feels right. She's married. He's still a single man traditionally. It feels like,
It's
yeah.
not an age thing.
No,
Sometimes
it's true.
just the heart.
Yes, the heart wants what it wants.
But he's a loose cannon. He's a flame on. So yeah, and again, kind of in keeping with, he's a known actor that's worked. Certainly has like one really iconic role.
Yeah.
But by no means like I probably for 90% of you had to say Eddie Munson before you knew who we were
I
talking
had to look it
about,
up.
right?
And even then, a solid 40% of that 90% went Eddie Munster?
Now, that would
Thurman
be-
Munson?
with the widow's peak. Yeah.
What did
Thurman
Eddie
Munson.
What did Eddie Munster do to my tables? He ruined my tables.
Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger are destroying my tables.
I think you should leave.
Okay, her job
Season
is she
2.
sets up tables at monster conventions.
Tables are my money.
Okay.
I can hear the people
Good job.
clicking off the video.
Good job.
I can't stop drinking wine. My toilet bowl is purple. Purple and black. All right. God, this has been a riot.
We're gonna do a 3-hour stream where it's just shouting lines from I think you should leave out of
Well,
context.
Jeff Snyder did.
She's got a great ass.
Jeff Snyder did confirm that Tim Robinson is a lock to play Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Whoa,
You
that's
sure about that?
It's a lock.
You sure about that?
So we're gonna come back here in a moment and talk about some of the names that were floated for Mr. Fantastic and Ben Grimm and the villain for the movie.
Oh.
Real quick, we want to shout out our friends at NerdRiot.shop who make cool merch like this new Rockstars kind of Barbie font shirt. They don't make Tommy's shirt.
They don't make Walmart polos that are fraying at
Not
the
yet.
bottom?
Maybe we can get them on that. And then Brandon is sporting a currently
This is a
unreleased
secret, unreleased.
Kashyyyk
Coming
Warriors
soon.
baseball tee. We're releasing a whole sports line of like fake Star Wars teams and baseball and football tees coming out around Ahsoka. Keep an eye out.
And if you're playing the Kashyyyk Warriors, let the Wookiee win.
Always let the Wookiee win.
That's right.
He tears arms off.
Yeah,
if he loses.
I know you might get both your arms torn off. And we want to also shout out folks that have sent in either subscribed on Twitch or sent in bits. Ryan Payne, Derek C. Thank you so much. I'm B. Tyler. Slayer Army, first time subbed. Hey, thanks, Slayer Army. And Nerd Girl Jean, gift sub. Thank
Nerd
you
Girl
so
Jean
much.
always supporting. Thank you, Nerd.
Yes, good to hear from you, Nerd Girl Jean. And then Storm Guy Ty.
Storm Cutie.
Oh, Storm Cutie. Thank you for pronouncing that much better than me. Storm Cutie 18. And then folks sending in bits. Blake likes the Ducks. Good to hear from you again, Blake. Christian Unpronounceable, our fellow Canadian.
Yes.
Tyler with an O. Shaq Diesel. CB 66683.
Whoa. How do you feel about 666, Tyler?
I'm the devil.
Okay. While not giving out any names, Jeff Snyder did clarify that some popular names have not been cast.
Okay.
So I think he was kind of debunking some of the rumors that have come out.
Rumors of like actors that we heard or have gotten these roles. He was saying this is not true at all.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. One was Paul Walter Hauser, who you'll recognize from 1,000 Things, including Cruella, the Richard Jewell movie.
The aforementioned I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. He is not going to be playing the Thing.
Okay.
God said no.
He's also there's some fun quotes. He's been working a lot and also is very religious. Good for him.
And there is a Schneider during the Hot Mic podcast said that the MCU wants to cast a fat white guy as the Thing, and I gotta say
He used those words.
I
fat
know
white guy.
struck work, so I ain't putting myself out there,
Right.
but I know a thing or two about a thing or two. All right.
I mean, the interesting thing is all the names we've discussed today are, white men and women.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to diversify the Fantastic
They
Four?
better not.
Well, it feels like, traditionally, again, Sue Storm and Johnny Wright are brother and sister.
Right.
But now that did not stop the Fantastic Four
No,
stick.
because he was,
They
like,
made them
adopted
adopted
or-
siblings
Yeah, yeah.
of different races. There's also no reason. I mean, the Thing. I don't know if it helps your diversity if the Thing spends most of the movie as an
As
orange
a
block.
black-
And to
It's
be
not
like,
like
he's a Jewish guy. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not really the
he's
representation.
he's
we're looking
Southeast
for.
Asian. What's like really? He looks like a
Well,
pile of rocks.
yeah.
It sucks that they cast William Jackson Harper in a meaningless role in Quantumania because
Right.
he would be
He's
a
been
great Mr. Fantastic.
great-
He would be a
Maybe
great
they'll
Reed
bring
Richards.
Quaz out of the the
Quantum
realm
realm.
Somehow Quaz
has returned.
has returned.
They'll bring him out and they'll be like, "You're actually very smart, Mr. Quaz Richards."
The green screen actors speak. I love that. His entire role, he's never on camera with anyone else. He's just always cutting to him with a great background. I don't think him and Paul Rudd have ever met.
And again, reminder: Michael Chiklis plays a thing
The
in those
Commish.
early movies, the Commish, and the Shield. And Jamie Bell most recently played him.
And by the way, Jamie Bell, that is a sin that Jamie Bell played the thing.
Thin Man.
No offense, great actor, very much enjoy Jamie Bell, but come on. 2015, we were out of our damn minds. Thin was in. Skinny was mini. Everybody was talking. Slight was right.
Do you want to see a practical Ben Grimm thing?
I want to see a Ben Grimm so out of breath from tying his shoes that he almost falls over and hyperventilates.
But do you
It's a
want
great
an actor
question.
in a suit?
Because
or do you
Chiklis
want-
was practical.
Right. And
there was a lot of foam
it
and
looks
latex going
not
on.
great.
It doesn't look great. I think the tech we have,
Korg,
Korg is
right?
a great example.
Korg,
It should look like Korg, but orange.
So fully CGI.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I think they would have an actor on set capturing face.
I want to see at one point the Thing forget something up one flight of stairs and be like, fuck it, I ain't going back up there for it. That to me will be
I'm not
the
going back.
Also, he can't take elevators. He weighs like 2,500 pounds, right?
Yeah. That's why I do take elevators. I weigh slightly less than that. I'm wearing under. The Otis Elevator Company has informed me I'm still at my elevator weight. And I won't stop until they tell me otherwise.
I gotta say, Tommy, you're looking slim today.
Thanks. I've had radical surgery. Dr.
wow.
Nasty's been cutting pieces out of me.
And when you
all
say
week.
radical, you just mean like you're on a skateboard.
Yeah. I mean, we all wear neon. I wear neon down.
Tubular.
They play sweet house music.
Another actor that will not be portraying the Thing is Ibn Mas Bacharach, which again, you probably don't recognize that name, but he is Cousin on The Bear season 1 and 2.
He was on Andor.
And he had a very memorable 2 or 3 episode arc on the first season of Andor.
Yes.
Very
Sorry, I
talented actor who, if you've seen either of those projects, you love him.
Everything
really
he's
good.
in, he's like, people are like, that guy's great. Like,
He was also, I think the first place I ever saw him was alongside Adam Driver in a later season of Girls.
Yes.
So he will not be playing Thing, as had previously been rumored, but Snyder did say he might be in the running for Silver
This
Surfer.
is
Oh.
wild to me.
Yeah.
I do not picture this actor as the Silver
Well, because he's
Surfer.
so bombastic and emotive.
Also,
Well, I don't see him. I mean, we've never heard him speak with a non-Earth-based cadence.
Right.
But he has such a casual style.
Yeah.
Like his style in most of his roles feels very like natural.
and one of his super skills is he's so good at conveying like people from the street or
Yeah.
like working class level people,
Or, like
which like
simmering anger.
yes,
or-
none of those things do you associate with this
No.
galactic, perfectly
with the Herald
smooth-
of Galactus. Evan, quick question. Can you do a little Googling for me? Is Ibn Mas Bacharach related to Burt Bacharach? Because I want to know if he's a Nepo grandchild or something. It'll change my opinion of him drastically.
Hey, also
For the
Evan,
better.
Evan, do you know the way to San Jose?
Yeah.
Can you Google that real quick?
Also, Evan, why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Do we have confirmation?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any relation.
Oh,
Okay,
Good,
all right.
good. Okay, great.
I'm back on the Bacharach train.
And now we're going to come back to Silver Surfer here in a moment, but let's move on to potential Reed Richards casting, right? So there has been a lot that this role, along with Sue Storm, has been one of the most rumored, right? Obviously, John Krasinski, ever since Multiverse of Madness has been mentioned, but the big name recently has been Adam Driver. Supposedly, Adam Driver has officially turned down the role. Also, Matt Smith. Aemon Targaryen. Damon, sorry.
I know there are very similar names.
We know two Targaryen
We do
brothers,
know. We do know
Brendan and Brandon, who are off the chain.
Those guys are great. But he has kind of been the most recent floated name. Supposedly he's been offered the role, but Snyder said that it will likely not be Matt Smith. That would also make 3 out of 3 English actors there.
Well,
too.
and that Matt Smith news came out like yesterday or 2
Very
days ago. That
recently.
it was like, oh, he got offered this before the strike happened, and then now they're like shooting it down immediately. I mean, I want to see him dancing like Reed Richards.
Yeah,
He
come
showed all his
on.
skills in Morbius.
It's more of a
Come on.
Yes.
Uh,
And what a glow up.
what a glow up. The Adam Driver stuff is interesting. Like his name was really pushed for a long time, and then the kind of rumor was that like he didn't like the script or didn't connect with the character. And we were kind of talking about this before we went live. You know, if this is because something Snyder was kind of hinting at was like the movies, either the casting or the movie is centering around more Sue Storm as like the lead than like Reed Richards. And maybe this is a case of like I don't really connect with this character. I wouldn't be the lead of this movie. I'm not that interested.
Well,
he could be feeling burnt after Star Wars.
Not only Star Wars, his most recent film,
65,
was an epic bomb, right? A sci-fi movie that people were kind of like, what is his decision making like for taking roles or something like that? I haven't seen the movie. I don't want to speak to its quality, but so maybe he's like, I need to step away from genre stuff for a minute, right? Potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just very interesting that his name was attached for so long.
Yeah.
I agree, and I'm an Adam Driver fan, but I gotta say, I think for the role of Reed Richards, I usually eat my words when I'm like, oh, this casting doesn't make sense to me, and then I see it on screen, and I'm like, oh, that's why I'm not a casting director. This person was fabulous. I feel like Adam Driver, the roles that I like him in, they're not Reed Richards. Like that's not to say he doesn't have the range. Actors can do a lot of different things.
Well, kind of like even Moss Baccarat, right? Like intensity is his calling card. Right. And like of all the Marvel characters, you don't think of Reed Richards as being an intense character. Right. Maybe even aloof, brainy, right? Like
a little cold. He is a cold character.
Yes.
Certainly like colder than a lot of the other scientists.
And we were saying like of current MCU actors, right? Maybe there's some similar, obviously another scientist character, but Mark Ruffalo's depiction of Bruce Banner, right? Kind of brings that to mind. Like he's a little like, in space some of the time.
Sure.
Right?
Well, and he's very willing to be like, this, like during a lot of the Secret Wars stuff, Reed Richards is quick to be like, this universe got to die. To save ourselves, we got to kill off the universe. Whereas other heroes are trying to be like, no, we can save both of them. And he's like,
famously a member of the Illuminati.
Well,
of course,
and if you go back to like Silver Age stuff, a lot of those stories are wild now. But he, famously with the Skrulls that came to Earth, he's like, turn them into cows and wipe their minds. Let them live as cows. They don't know they're Skrulls. That's the Reed Richards way.
By the way, you can still get at Salt Bay's restaurant in Vegas a Skrull steak.
Oh.
And they are poison.
Salt Bay dropping salt like that. Come on the show, Salt Bay.
Come on the show, Salt Bay.
So again, the casting for Reed Richards still very much up in the air. Names getting floated.
Not a big fat white guy though. I think was far Schneider.
Fingers crossed we get a big fat white guy. Now, if it were a larger, heftier actor, and he's stretched in Mr. Fantastic form, does he stretch thick or does he stretch thin?
Oh, I think picture a Stretch Armstrong figure from our youth. After a while, all of the whatever the goo inside would settle on one part of the body, kind of creating a mound. I think it'd be kind of like he'd be lots of moundular. It would just be coming out of him. But also, he could probably make himself super hot and tall. Like he could be like, if you put yourself up 5 inches, hey yo, phrasing.
That's what a great point. I'm sure people have addressed this. Why doesn't Mr. Fantastic make himself like 7'8"?
Yeah. Why not make himself like and play in the NBA for a bit?
Just like he's like, I can't do it all at once. They'll catch on.
Every day I get a little bit taller.
He could stretch his facial features to look different too.
Yeah.
A second career as an NBA player?
This is the same conversation we had with the Skrulls where it's like, Talos has to wake up every day and be like, okay, make myself a little bit older. Like you just gotta constantly age yourself up a little bit every day, just to blend in. Now, if you're gonna hire a bunch of white actors to be all the other characters, let's put some diversity in Reed Richards already.
I agree.
Like what's going?
He's married into the family. It doesn't really matter what his
that'll
race
really
is.
piss off those haters too.
As long, I don't care what they do. They can cast anybody they want. As long as they get some gray on the temples.
Yeah,
that's all I need from Reed.
They did it to Strange.
Nice.
They'll do it to Reed.
Yes,
they got it.
They'll do it to Reed.
Gruffled went gray.
He did,
and then he went away.
Come on the show.
Come on the show, Gruffled.
Other Fantastic Four casting news. So Snyder, obviously like Doctor Doom and Galactus are two classic Marvel villains, have yet to appear in the modern MCU that are so associated with the Fantastic Four. Both of them have been floated as potential villains in this film. Snyder said it won't be Doom, it will be Galactus. He said that it will be voiced by a Latino or Latina actor.
Ooh, Selma.
Okay. And now we're going to get very semantic with that terminology. This is the wording that Jeff Snyder used, not our wording.
Right.
Because then he floated that, a different scooper, right? Daniel RPK floated that it's going to be Antonio Banderas voicing Galactus. And now, just for clarity's sake, Antonio Banderas does not technically count as Latino. He counts as Hispanic because he is from Spain. I don't know that any of these people are noting those differences in language, but we just want to say
you
that.
really want to parse it down. That's what it boils down
And we were
to.
saying, love Antonio Banderas. Super talented. Loved watching his work for 20 plus years. He's Puss in Boots to me, and always will be.
Yeah.
Get Bardem. Bardem is Galactus.
I mean, Bardem was the best part about the Little Mermaid remake as King Triton, and he was taking it very seriously.
He's
He was
taking.
great.
No
He's
one
taking
told
it
him he was a
gravitas.
merman,
No
I
one
think.
told him he was a merman.
I mean,
He just
He's like,
showed
what
up
am I,
on
an
set.
astronaut or something? Like, yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the current Dune franchise. I
Right.
mean, nobody can convey more gravitas. Nobody is more believable as like a 10,000 foot tall space, demon than that gravelly
Demon.
voice guy. Or
Demon?
not God, whatever.
Entity.
Entity. Eternal, or no, sorry, they are celestial.
He's not a celestial.
He's a level down from that?
Yes. Though I think technically he has eaten a celestial. I don't know.
Who
The
hasn't?
power- The power rankings bounce all over the place.
Tell you what, I've eaten a few Celestials in my day.
I could be wrong. He might have been a celestial. I don't think he is, though. I think he's like an elder god or something like that.
Oh, well, this is all fascinating. Hey, guess what? Go outside, touch grass.
Okay, we can't tell them to do that when we are literally fanning the
They
flames
could be
of
on
all
their
this
phone.
speculation.
They can take their phone
That's
down.
right. you
Put a
can be-
picture of grass on your Google image
So,
search and touch it with your fingers.
So allegedly, Matt Shackman's vision for this movie
No pun intended.
was the casting that kind of he was dreaming of. And again, Matt Shackman, director of WandaVision, has been
Director of Chippendales, I think. Welcome to Chippendales.
that series with Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah. I think the pilot specifically he
Oh.
directed. There was a
Nice.
really
He
dynamic.
directed
Some
many
guy threw up
episodes.
oysters in the pilot. There's a lot of buzz. A lot of people are talking about the opening scene of a man hurling oysters into a champagne bucket as the seminal moment of that.
Sorry, my favorite.
He
scene.
also directed several episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I guess what we're saying is my Shackman number is 1. Why can't I play the thing? I've worked with him before.
That's right.
He said yes before.
Call him up. But his dream casting was Adam Driver, Margot Robbie, Paul Mescal, who's going to be in the Gladiator prequel coming out, and After Sun and Ordinary People is talented Irish actor, and Daveed Diggs. Speaking of Little Mermaid, Sebastian himself.
Could we get a replay of the Scuttlebutt song?
It's the Scuttlebutt.
Because he'll be reunited with Aquafina and Shang-Chi as well if they were to cross over and see her.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi shows up.
So, that was Shackman's vision for the casting. We think probably none of that's going to happen. We don't know. Margot Robbie flying high now, man.
Yeah.
Barbie going to be one of the most successful movies of all time. I don't know that she wants to commit to a Marvel franchise, but this might be the role for her if she chose to delve into the MCU.
She would be a huge get for the MCU to bring her in.
Which also, FYI, if you're unfamiliar, like Margot Robbie, not only very talented actress, very successful, is also a very successful producer. She produced Barbie. She produced a lot of her own movies, and she produces stuff that she doesn't even appear in. So, her schedule is very busy. To commit to a multi-movie deal with MCU, who knows? But we'd love to see it. She'd be great in a role.
And what we were kind of talking about this earlier too, like what the excitement and like the kind of anticipation for this Fantastic Four movie. What do we think that's like based on? Is it the fact that these are old comic book characters that a lot of people know about who even don't read comics? They're aware of the Fantastic
the first
Four.
family of Marvel, right? Yeah.
There's been several movies already. It was a big property. Marvel didn't own, or Marvel Studios didn't own for a long time and just got back.
Well, we were saying off air, and I think for me, the fact that Marvel took Iron Man and Thor and characters like that and stuck the landing with the Avengers portion of the MCU so well, I think it gave comic book fans who were kind of used to these, like, no offense, but like the Daredevil movies and the original Fantastic Four, and just kind of these like every couple of years a different comic book character will have a standalone movie, and it might be okay, but none of them other than like Batman really kind of blows you out of the water. I think now the first couple phases of the MCU gave true comic book, nerds hope of adaptations that were like really harkened back to what made the comics magical for them as kids. It made them feel like kids again. And I think for a lot of people, we were saying Fantastic Four represents the first family of Marvel and are these iconic characters. And they feel like now with Feige and that team steering, there's a chance for a Fantastic Four movie that could finally deliver on what is the most impossible task in Hollywood, fan expectation, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it, Tommy. Also, just a reminder, right? Like the history of Marvel, they sold off all their best characters, right? They sold Spider-Man to Sony, they sold Hulk to Universal, they sold the X-Men to Fox, and they sold Fantastic Four to Fox. So they had to kind of make it work with what some would consider a second tier of characters: Iron Man, Thor, Hawkeye, Black Widow,
Even
right?
Captain America was
Captain America.
known, but like not a popular.
Right. But now they've gotten all of those back. So like, oh, they were able to do that with, maybe lesser known characters. And also we're coming out of some phases where, characters like Shang-Chi and, even Black Widow, right? Like that were definitely not household names pre-MCU in any way, right? Got to like, in all the Disney Plus series, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, right? Like they've been trying to develop these like maybe third or fourth tier characters into big names. Now they can go back to the first tier characters they never got a shot at before. That's kind of exciting to see what kind of storytelling they'll do there.
Absolutely.
I think that's an interesting place for us to put a pin in it for now. As news develops, little rumor out there says that the studios and the Writers Guild are meeting tomorrow to maybe resume talks, right? That was released by the WGA, that they've been invited back to talks with the studios. Now, that would just be talks. That doesn't mean an agreement is in place. So even if they kind of come to some conclusion, it'll probably take weeks for that to end. And then that doesn't include the actors that are also currently on strike. So we don't know, but maybe there's a future in the near term, middle term, where we are no longer under these double strikes. Hollywood can kind of kick back in. And maybe as soon as like both strikes are over that day, Disney's like, yep, here's your casting, right? Like we've been sitting on this for a while, but now we can announce it.
And that's the day all of us get to drop all of our cool photos from the movies we went to see on Instagram without being scorned. What a day on social media it will be.
That's Tommy's drafts on Instagram. It's deep right now.
It's like a draft. People are being called into service and they have no idea they're doomed.
Thank you so much for watching The Break Room today. Follow us on Twitch. Subscribe to the Breakroom channel on YouTube, where you can catch cut down versions of what we stream on Twitch, in addition to some exclusive content and some celebrity interviews. I think producer Evan has a celebrity interview with Gal Gadot dropping in the very near term. Is that right, Evan?
Yeah.
Okay. So check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.
We love you, YouTube. We love you.